Bonjour à tous and welcome back to Frenchified with that French dude. Unlocking fluency with Coach Sam. Today, we are learning French ER verb with spelling changes. Don't worry, these are still regular ER verb. The conjugation ending stays exactly the same. Only the spelling of the verb stem changes in certain form to keep the pronunciation consistent. Also, it's important to know that aller is the only irregular ER verb in French. It does not follow this pattern or regular ending. By the end of this lesson, you will know why spelling changes happen. 2. The four most common spelling changes pattern. And 3. How to conjugate this verb correctly and how to use them naturally in everyday French. Let's get started. Allons-y. Why do spelling changes happen? In French, spelling sometimes changes so the pronunciation stays the same. If these spelling changes didn't happen, some conjugation form would suddenly be pronounced differently. So instead of changing the sound, French changes the spelling. The good news is that these are still regular ER verbs. They all take the regular ending. For instance, je takes E, tu takes ES, il, elle, on, we use E, nous, ONS, vous, EZ, and il, elle takes ENT. Only the stem changes. Now let's see how these spelling changes affect some verbs. Now let's start with pattern 1. Pattern 1 is the GER verb, and you can find this in manger. So let's use manger as an example. Now listen carefully to the conjugation. We have je mange, tu manges, il mange, elle mange, nous mangeons, vous mangez, il mange, elle mange. Did you notice something? Only nous becomes mangeons with an extra E. Why is that so? Now, nous becomes nous mangeons with an extra E because without the E, the G becomes E. And we are going to have a hard sound like in go in English. So adding the E keeps the G soft and we have nous mangeons. And here are other examples that you can find with this same principle. It includes voyager, nager, partager, and bouger. Now in the nous form, it becomes nous voyageons, nous nageons, nous partageons, nous bougeons. So remember, GER verbs add an extra E before the ONS. So let's go to pattern 2. Pattern 2, CER verbs. Now let's use commencer as our example. Commencer, which means to begin. Now, listen to the conjugation. It gives us je commence, tu commences, il commence, elle commence, nous commençons, vous commencez, il commence, elle commence. Notice that the C changes to C, CD only with nous. And why? It changes to C, CD because before the O, the letter C normally sound like K. Now the CD keeps the soft S sound. That's why we have nous commençons. And other examples include placer, avancer, remplacer, lancer, annoncer. And you can see it in nous plaçons, nous avançons, nous remplaçons, nous lançons, nous annonçons. So remember, CER verb changes to C changes from C to CCD before ONS. Now let's go to pattern 3. Verb with accent or consonant changes. Some verb change the spelling of the stem in most form, but not with nous and vous. For example, you can see it in acheter. Now the infinitive form is acheter, but once we start to conjugate it, it becomes achète. Change in pronunciation. Now let's conjugate the verb acheter. It gives us j'achète, tu achètes, il achète, elle achète, nous achetons, vous achetez, ils achètent, elles achètent. The E changes to E accent grave in most forms. That's in the nous and the vous form. And you can still find this in the following verb. lever, monnaie, enlever, and peser. Now, for the consonants, let's look at appeler. Appeler meaning to call. And the verb changes from appeler. When we conjugate it, it gives us j'appelle in the conjugation form. And you can see it in j'appelle, tu appelles, il appelle, elle appelle, nous appelons, vous appelez, ils appellent, elles appellent. Here, the L doubles in most forms except for nous and vous. Another common example is rappeler. Rappeler, so you see it there. And another example of verb with the double consonant is jeter. By the time you conjugate it, it gives us je jette, tu jettes, il jette, elle jette, nous jetons, vous jetez, il jette, elle jette. All right, so let's go to the pattern 4. Pattern 4, that's the YER verb. YER verb. Now, let's take payer as an example. Payer meaning to pay. And you can see it in je paye, tu payes, il paye, nous payons, vous payez, il paye, and elle paye. With many YER verbs, the Y changes to I in most forms, except the nous and the vous. And other examples include essayer, nettoyer, employer. And now when you conjugate them, you see that it changes and it gives us j'essaye, tu essaies, il essaie, et ainsi de suite. Je nettoie, tu nettoies, ainsi de suite. All right, so let's do a quick summary and to remember us. Now we say for GER verb, we add E before the ONS in the new form. An example, we have nous mangeons. For the CER verb, we add C cédille and it becomes nous commençons to soften the pronunciation. And some verbs change the stem with an accent or a doubled consonant. For instance, you can see it in j'achète, j'appelle, or je jette. And also, we said the YER verb, Y often changes to I in the most form. For instance, you can see it in je paye. So remember, these are still regular ER verb. The endings stays the same, only the spelling changes to keep the pronunciation natural. Also remember, aller is the only irregular ER verb in French, so it does not follow this pattern. If you found this lesson helpful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone learning French. Merci beaucoup. I'll see you in the next lesson. À bientôt.